is a second place, and the Jamaica Labour Party is extremely happy this morning, despite the tiredness on our faces, or certainly mine, to be in the winning column, to have gotten the confidence of the Jamaican people, or certainly those who participated in the electoral process, to believing in the trust that we and confidence that we required of them to take this country forward over the next 5-year term. We are elated. We believe, and we have believed all along, that we were and still are the best option of the two entities that competed. We believe that we are up to the task, and we are ready to do the work on the ground for our country to improve the lives of each Jamaican, each and every Jamaican. Up to last night, it was a competition between political organizations. Today, it is a government that is committed to all of Jamaican, every single Jamaican, wherever you are, whatever interests you represent. That is the posture that we would like to project in the minds of all, that we are here to represent all of Jamaica. So I want to just start off by saying that, we felt that the campaign went according to plan. And I would say for the most part, because nothing is perfect, we leveraged our achievements as an incumbent government over the last 9+ years. We also focused on those issues that we felt were important to the Jamaican people, not on the rhetoric, not on the tear down, the propaganda, and other negative. We tried very hard not to pursue a negative campaign because we felt that we didn't need to, because we felt that the Jamaican people were discerning enough to understand what is in their best interests. From the achievements, of course, we went to our manifesto, where we essentially said to the Jamaican people, if you are in agreement that the last 9 years improved your lives, or certainly moved in a direction where you felt more confident in the government of the day, whether it is the reduction of crime, the training, water in rural communities, jobs, reduction of poverty, and I could go on. We're asking for your confidence in allowing us to go for the next 5 years. And that effectively is what happened. And so we are very happy for the vote of confidence, and we want to say a very big thank you to those who came out and supported us, to those who may not have, but are wishing us all the best, and even to those who may have an alternative view. As I said, today we are the government, and we're here for all Jamaicans. I want to also take the opportunity to commend our candidates. This is a political organization and a political campaign that worked together as a team, and that worked for us. It's always better when you work as a team. The tone was set by the party leader and Prime Minister, by the General Secretary, those in particular. The rest of us followed through, both at this level of the national campaign, and I want to thank my colleagues who are at the head table, but there are so many others who are not, but who give critical support. I want to just publicly express my appreciation, absolute appreciation for their efforts, because this is not a one-man job. This is a team effort, and the team effort was projected in the effectiveness of the campaign, certainly from my perspective, and I believe we all share that view. That team effort extended to constituencies. And as I have said before, all 63 candidates were worthy of the role that they played. They went out there, they represented the party well, they articulated the vision, they articulated the 5-year plan for their respective seats or constituencies, and I really want to commend them on the consistency with which they approached their efforts and the hard work that they put out. Clearly, at the end of the day, not all were successful, even though there's still some counting taking place, and the official count will be announced, I'm sure, in another day or so. As you know how the political process works, the official count is now taking place at the respective constituency electoral offices with representatives from both sides, or if there are others, and that's when we will know exactly what the final count is, except to say, based on the preliminary count and the margins, we are pretty sure that we are ahead and we will be the government for the next 5 years. But I want to thank those candidates. I want to thank their teams because, again, they were standard bearers for the Labour Party, but they didn't act on their own. On average, each constituency would have, based on my own experience, anywhere between 800 and 1,500 party representatives who are active workers, not just supporters, but active workers. So it's a big task to manage a constituency. A typical election day will see 250 cars, 1,000 to 1,200 workers, even up to 1,500. Breakfast and lunch being served on time, moving 8,000, 10,000 voters. It's a logistics exercise, and a candidate is just one moving part in that overarching logistics of messaging, of movement, of just treating people the way they ought to be treated while encouraging them to come out and vote. And so I really want to just say a big thank you to the army of Labour Party supporters throughout the country at constituency level who really made this Jamaica Labour Party victorious at the end of the day. As I've said earlier, there are some official counting is taking place, and I'm sure you will get more information on what those results look like. There are some close seats based on the initial count, and that's a process that we will allow to play out. Some of those may move on to even further levels, magisterial recounts and so on. That's a process that our democracy allows for, and we will allow that to play out, and we'll watch that process carefully and keep you informed. There were a couple of things too that I think over time a conversation will take place around. We're not going to make it an issue at this point, but we do believe that the activities on the day itself, certainly in the early hours of the day, was slow, the process of voting. And we did get the complaints, persons leaving, having to come back, some may not have in some instances. How the process works, of course, is that we have our representatives at the level of the Electoral Commission, Mr. Andre Franklin and Senator Tom Finson, and they will represent the voice of the Jamaica Labour Party, and of course they consult with us, and that process I think will play out. But to the extent that our democracy functions based on the efficiency of an electoral process, I think it's always good to have a conversation, a review in immediate aftermath of an event such as a general election or any election for that matter. And I do believe that a conversation is required. We believe in the process. We think the process is fair, but we want the process to be as efficient as possible. And I just mentioned that as an important issue. I will close my comments by saying that we will continue to try harder to work for the people of Jamaica. We know that many have benefited from our stewardship in the last 9 years. And the plans that we have, we intend to stay committed to those plans going forward over the next 5 years. But we also are aware that some Jamaicans may have a view and expectations, and that's fine. In a campaign, you say what you have done and you explain what you intend to do. And I just want to reassure the Jamaican people that we will approach governance in humility, with respect for everyone, and to ensure that we collaborate as much as possible to give the best representation for all Jamaicans. And in the coming weeks and months, as the Prime Minister determines who forms his cabinet, which is his prerogative, he will, I am sure, set the tone for the next 5 years. He started that last night, and I have no doubt that the approach will be in keeping with representing all of Jamaica. And we say to those who may not have participated in the process or who may have an alternative view, as a government, we're here for everyone. And that's the tone that we would like to set at this stage. So thanks again, and I'll hand back now to the chairman.
Thank you, Chris. We are really interested in hearing your questions and supplying answers. But before we do that, we'll invite Commissioner Johnson Smith for a few comments on the outcome of general election number 19 since universal adult suffrage. And Mrs. Johnson Smith will be followed by Dr. Dana Morris Dixon for a few brief comments. Kamina.
Thank you so much, Chair. Good afternoon to everyone once more. Afternoon to everyone joining us here today in the room, and those of you joining us online. Those of you joining us from overseas, I really want to say a very big thank you. I want to start on a note of gratitude, a note of appreciation, a note of thanks to each and everyone who has followed this campaign, who has been engaged, who has visited our website, who has asked questions, who engaged and tired out poor Bella with all your very pointed and important questions that she was only too happy to answer for you. We want to expressly thank bloggers who had an even deeper and more passionate engagement with the Jamaican political process and with the Jamaica Labour Party than we have had in previous years. We want to celebrate them and to thank you for all that you do in helping to spread the message and to help ensure that the widest number of people understand and share the vision, understand the achievements, and have the facts which allow them to take a decision on the day or to even think about how they engage in the political process going forward. I personally want to not only express thanks to the members of this committee, the National Campaign Committee, and to the leadership of the party who have been supportive throughout, and to add my thanks to and commendations to all our 63 candidates who worked so hard and their supporting teams. I want to say a special thank you to all the young people who have come on board Team Jamaica Labour Party. You have been phenomenal contributors to our process. You have enriched how we engage. You have given us your thoughts, your perspectives, and we hope that we have done you proud in terms of being able to translate some of that into what we have shared with the wider Jamaica. We value you, we love you, stay on board. We have lots more work left to do. I want to just, in respect of the results, of the election, and before I just jump into that, I want to remind that in terms of our engagement and the fact that we committed to you that we would do it differently and did so by making sure we had 5 documents produced. We had our record of achievements, we had our achievements by ministry, we had our manifesto, I Choose Jamaica, the next chapter, we had our 100 highlights, the next chapter, and we had our education manifesto. Again, all paying due respect and regard to how people want to engage with information. We had our interactive map on the website that allows you to go through and see all the infrastructural developments that have been taking place and make inquiries. And this is particularly useful for people overseas who hear things but don't know what's happening in terms of major changes in Jamaica. And I want to share with you that we've had more than 70,000, close to above 70,000 views of our documents. People continue to engage with the map and with the documents themselves. in addition to thousands of downloads. And this is, I think we had close to 50,000 views of Prime Minister's message, his final message on the website. And we want to encourage you to continue to visit the website. The information is still there, still accessible, because remember, those of you who haven't registered to vote, it may be time, when you look at what we've put forward and what we plan to do, for you to think about being in a position to take that decision and to take that action in 5 years' time when the next election comes around. And this is part of our desire to enrich and engage and widen the democratic process. We know people speak about voter apathy, and we believe firmly that it will only change with intentional behavior, and we continue and promise that we will continue to work on that and to think of ways, more ways in which we can hear from you on how you think we can do this better. I wanted to just share in respect of the election results, as alluded to by the chair, there are some seats that we'll be looking at more closely. Clearly, Central Kingston and Southeast St. Mary won and lost by 12 and 11 votes based on the preliminary. We'll be looking at those counts very closely. We're looking also at seats such as Portland Eastern and St. James Southern in respect of the results which perhaps were unanticipated in respect of the numbers that we had, and therefore we believe need to be looked at more closely as we go through what is a part of the democratic process. We're quite confident, however, that the 34 seats which the Jamaica Labour Party won, we won them outright, and therefore they are unlikely to shift. And we therefore are in a mode of looking at what can be added as opposed to moving any other direction. So again, we're approaching with all humility, with all respect, and with all reverence for our democratic process, which we celebrate entirely, and ensuring that we continue to share the information about the realities of the work here in Jamaica, the fact that we enter this third term with the lowest poverty rate in the history of Jamaica, with the lowest unemployment rate in the history of Jamaica, with a debt to GDP ratio which has cut by more than 50% over the last administration, providing work a base, a foundation for us to do even more. We continue to work at a record reduction in murders, having entered at 43% reduction. We are not satisfied with any of these statistics. We want to ensure that we do more for you, and we're committed and energized to do so. You'll not find an administration of complacency in us. You will not find an administration of arrogance in us. What you will find is a committed team that is looking forward to doing more in a real sense. So we look forward to the questions that come to us after, and again, look forward to engaging with all of you in different ways and to hearing more from you as we continue to serve you as your government. Thank you. Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Kamina. Dr. Morris Dixon.
Thank you very much, Abkan. Good afternoon to everyone. I want to start by thanking all of our team that put themselves on the line yesterday. All 63 of them, I want to say thank you to you. I know there is a lot of disappointment for some people, and we all feel it because we know how hard everybody on this team has worked. I also want to thank the team that's up here, the campaign team led by Dr. Tufton. It's been an honor to sit with you, talk with you, strategize with you. It's been really an honor on my side, and I'm so proud of the team. And also, of course, I have to commend the wider communications team. Some of them are in this room. They are absolutely amazing, and we owe a lot to them, and they're very young and very dynamic, and we're very, very happy for your work. I just wanted to note one thing in terms of voter turnout. There's a lot of discussion around it. there are many different ways to look at it. I know online you have different people looking at data in different ways. I saw one set of data that was looking at it as a percentage of the population and less so as a percentage of those who are registered to vote. And that gave a different picture of voter turnout. It actually showed that we're pretty consistent over the life of this country in terms of around 30% of the overall population voting. And I think we need to look at the data through many different lenses. And as we know, data tells one kind of snapshot of the story, and you have to look at it through many different lenses. And I think it's important that we do that. It's important that we also acknowledge that there were about 100,000 more people that voted than 2020. That is something that is good. As we look at the voter turnout data, though, I want to remind everyone that we need to look at it in a much more broader sense so that we actually take away from it what it is really telling us. I'm also very happy about the women in Parliament, just based on last night's count. They're 19. We'll see what happens with the final counts. That is a very big thing. It's a very big thing for the women of Jamaica. It is important that women's voices are heard. And I know that on this side, we have emphasized women and encouraging women to be a part of this political process. And we're very happy to see that number. I'm also very happy to see some of our young women again back in the parliament, and we know who they are: Rhoda Moy Crawford, Tova Hamilton, Crystal Lee, and of course our voice, Carencia Morrison. It's so good to see those young women really saying to Jamaica that you can serve your country. It does not matter your age, it does not matter your gender. It is just a calling, and you can do it. And I'm so very happy for them. And I also have to say a special shout out to Ambassador Marks, first time MP. And I'm so very proud of her also, but just generally proud of our women on both sides who have decided to take up this calling. It's not easy to enter this political arena as a woman. And so I'm very happy about that. I also wanted to note that, as has been said, there's a lot more work for us to do. And the Prime Minister had already started to talk about some of that work last November when he spoke about Aspire, or growth reset. We understand deeply that growth is top of mind for this country and for this administration. And he laid it out. And again, last night, as you heard his speech, you heard elements of it. He spoke about the access to economic opportunities and how that's important to us. The continued work to deliver security, that is very important to us. We've started it, and we're going to continue down that road because Jamaicans deserve to live in a safe country. Bureaucracy was another element of his Aspire framework that he laid out in November, and you see in the manifesto that very heavily represented. The issue of people development, human capital development, he spoke about that last night, that every child will be able to have access to good education. That is very much central to this administration. You saw it in our education manifesto, as Kamina calls it. But that's very important, and how we build up the skills of our people. Infrastructure, he spoke about water, he spoke about roads, he spoke about housing. Those are important elements. He also spoke about the new Jamaica that we're trying to build. It's going to be new industries, new areas, new sectors. We're already seeing work along the logistics line. In our manifesto, we spoke about the creative economy and everything that's going to be done there. We are working to build a new Jamaica, and we've already started that work, and we will humbly continue to do that work for Jamaica. We're all led by our Prime Minister, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness. And so we take our cues from him. And he has said that we will continue to lead in terms of humility. And that is what we will do. That is what we will endeavor to do. We'll continue to work for everyone. There's a lot more work to be done. I found myself this morning looking at the manifesto and looking at all the things that we've said we're going to do and thinking through how we're going to do them. We've already started to think, and we'll continue to do so with the utmost respect for the people of Jamaica, because we are doing this for our people and for our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. We thank our media partners for attending upon this media conference, and we now invite questions. We'll ask that you identify yourself, then pose your question, and also indicate the media house from whence you come.
Raymond Morrison from CVM News. How will the JLP ensure transparency and accountability during the new term to avoid political scandals and corruption concerns?
Well, okay, let me respond. First of all, there's a process that is involved in governance, and that process throws up any issues that may arise or represent a lack of transparency and accountability. And there are agencies of government that are independent of government, like the Auditor General, the IC and others, that have the capacity to expose transparency or accountability issues. So if you're asking me, that's why I hesitated, I wasn't sure what you were asking, that if those should be changed, because it can't be argued that they don't exist, because they're there. Clearly, organizations have their own internal issues, internal mechanisms also. We have a cabinet that is led by the chairman, the Prime Minister. We have a parliament that has accountability strictures also, whether it's through debates or decision making. So we have a ecosystem that does keep governance on a particular path, and whenever there's a deviation from that, it is addressed. Now, is there a need to strengthen that? I think it's an evolving process where there are gaps. Those gaps are discussed, and if changes are to be made, changes are made. You know, I have some views on it in terms of decision making. I mean, I believe that one of the challenges with driving some of the decisions of government is the extent to which bureaucracy, which sometimes are necessary, has hampered or delayed decision-making process. And that's in all areas. It's in the procurement process, for example, in terms of the length of time. It's in getting a permit to build, which is why the manifesto has sought to address comprehensively the need to cut the red tape and the bureaucracy and to make government more efficient. We're on a path now where we have done a number of things to stabilize the economy. We've done a lot of things to create jobs. We have made announcements around special economic zones, a logistics hub, and we're going to have to make it easier for economic activity to take place. And the challenge with that is always those looking on and being suspicious of some of those decisions. And those are some of the decisions that will have to be taken. I mean, we don't want to be bogged down so much in bureaucracy that we discourage economic efficiency and activities from taking place. So I know it's a long-winded way of addressing your question, but we kind of have to balance the scales in terms of what we want to achieve as a government.
I think I do want to just add to what Minister Tufton has shared, because essentially the focus is on efficiency. We've always said that corruption and bureaucracy, they're two sides of that coin of efficiency and inefficiency. And that's why we actually spend so much time to have this speed section in the manifesto. So we believe that the more you have processes that are in place, that are transparent, that are predictable, and that are clear and standardized, is the less that you will have the need for people to try to go around the system or to try to make the system, to game the system for them personally. Which is why we have things like the one-stop portal that will standardize applications for event holders. from one side of the island to the next. It's why we want the one-stop portal for the building permits, which will, for the development permits, that's going to build on the Amanda process that's in place. It's why we're proposing also the procurement tracker that's going to expand transparency within the granting of contracts, the value of contracts, and that whole process, because we think the more that people are able to access, and we've started that information is the more trust that you can build in the system, that it's working in a way that creates value for money. We had also signaled in the previous administration that we would be working on making procurement more efficient, that the process had become so bureaucratic that it actually did not always deliver value for money for the citizen, even if it is that it's stuck to what was said in the letter of the law. And therefore, we think that there needs to be improvements in that regime. Those are just a few of the areas, but I focus on efficiency, I focus on reducing bureaucracy, standardization and transparency of processes. These are the elements that we believe will help to build trust in accountability and good governance.
Okay, one more question. I'm sure the team would have included it in the manifesto, but just for Jamaicans who are yet to browse it or to remind them, what are the top 3 priorities your administration will focus on in the first 100 days?
Oh, I think that's for the Prime Minister too. That's the Prime Minister's share. And we didn't have a top 3, we had a top 100. So, but thank you for your interest, and we do very much look forward to sitting with the Prime Minister to work through how we prioritize the start of the administration, and we're very much looking forward to his perspectives and his guidance on that very same question.
Afternoon, Mahiri Stewart, Nationwide News here. We saw in this general election there are a lot of seats that the PNP base managed to overcome the JLP base and topple in terms of the final count, that is. Do you believe that there's more political work needed by the JLP to reclaim some of those lost seats?
We have never been complacent in terms of the work that we need to do. We've come out victorious, which we're very happy for, but the work starts today for the next time. I think we have to always engage in a process of reflection. This is the most important political exercise in our democracy. It happens once every 5 years or thereabouts. After every event, there's a almost default mode of assessment of the results, determining where we are, what we did well, what we didn't do so well. And all of that is around how we connect with the people on the ground, the Jamaican people. So there is no room for complacency. So the fact that we conceded through the ballot box some seats, until the official numbers are announced, we will know exactly how many, is a reality that we have more work to do. And if we approach it in that way, then I think we will always keep connected, because that's always our objective. And so nothing is going to be taken for granted. There are some traditional seats that have been based on historical voter pattern that have been more supportive of one party over the next, the PNP in this case, based on your question. And we understand the challenges with those seats, and we approach them in a way to give a voice to what we represent, what we have done, what we plan to do. But everybody has their democratic right to express themselves, and we just have to keep prodding at it. So that's my response.
Yeah, and Dr. Tufton, you are both a minister and a member of parliament, and that is the case for some of the JLP winners as well. In terms of being able to balance the governance part of your job with the on-the-ground part of your job, is that something that you think certain ministers or ministers in general may be lacking in terms of putting away the governance side to the wayside for a bit in order to ensure that on the ground their constituency is still in one piece?
It's a lot of work, and I think we have to face that reality. the hours are long, and if you want to do a good job, you have to put in the hours. You work with a team, so it's not a one-man event. Um, the, the team extends to the constituency, to the portfolio, to the cabinet, where the decisions are made and chaired by the Prime Minister. The truth is that the system works to the extent that the confidence in you is renewed at the end of a 5-year period. To the extent that it is not, then it's cause for recalibration. So if we were to use that assumption, then I would say that in this instance, the judgment and the capacity that has been applied to governance led by the Prime Minister and to the rest of us as cabinet members have earned us a renewal of that mandate. And to the extent that it did not, then we would be having a different kind of conversation here this morning. So yeah, I think we have to support each other, but it has to be looked at not in isolation as individuals. It has to be looked at from a team perspective. And I could not survive if I had to do all the things on my own. Sometimes I'm just the guy in front of the camera. The people behind me or beside me are the ones who do most of the work. So the capacity is really how you manage that process. And I think our ministers have done very well. I really do. And I think the cabinet has done well. And the Book of Achievements points that out very clearly. So that's the way the democracy works. The alternative to that is totalitarianism. And that's a lot more expensive and deleterious to the Jamaican people.
I guess this next question is kind of a two-parter, so I'll go with the first one and then we'll segue into the next. But question to
You're surprised the chairman don't tell you that you're asking too many questions.
Go
ahead.
Well, question to Abkan, I guess this pertains to Dr. Morris Dixon as well. As fresh faces in the political scene, you've been a part of this. So a question to Abka, Dr. Morris Dixon, and Senator Johnson Smith. As fresh faces, as newcomers to the political arena, you've gone through this first general election and you've come out on top, basically. In terms of the experience, how would you gauge it as a newcomer and as probably a younger politician coming into the fray?
I think it has been a good experience, and from the perspective of the Jamaica Labour Party team, I'm proud of the quality of the campaign that we have run under the leadership of Dr. Holness, our party chairman, Montague, our general secretary, Dr. Horace Chang, and our campaign chairman, Dr. Tufton. We focused on putting in place policies which benefit the people of Jamaica, outlining our track record of performance and acts of care on behalf of the people of Jamaica, and a firm commitment to do more. I believe the Jamaica Labour Party has set a new standard in terms of political campaigning for election or re-election, and I'm proud to be part of a team that oversaw and executed such a fantastic campaign. I was a bit disappointed, I should say, by what came from the opposition in terms of the institutionalized spreading of misinformation from the bloggers and to the highest level of their party, where it almost appeared as if lying from the political platform was something commonplace and something tolerated. I mean, up until the last day of the campaign, well, not of the campaign, on general election day, the bloggers were circulating false information, lies about the Prime Minister and the Jamaica Labour Party leader. I believe that sort of mendacity, which was promulgated from the platform of the PNP during their campaign, backfired on them, because Jamaicans are discerning people, and I'm of the view that the people of Jamaica assessed the deceptiveness which came from the platform of the PNP and voted against it. And it almost appeared to be so chronic, the fallacy, the deceptiveness from the opposition's platform, that they'd lie so often. Just before the election, a senior member of their party did the rounds on social media, speaking to bloggers, spreading false information about senior members of the Jamaica Labour Party. I'd hope, for the sake of our democracy and the well-being of our society, that the future leadership of the PNP will not countenance that sort of misleading, egregious, and deceptive conduct which appears to be tolerated under the Mark Golding-led PNP. So while I was very happy with the quality and the standard of the campaign that the Jamaica Labour Party pursued, I was particularly disappointed by the campaign of the opposition, the vitriol, the lies, which got to a point where they'd lie so much that they'd lie about people lying on them. Quite a disgrace, but I'd hope that they'd assess their conduct, do some introspection, and as I said, I'm hopeful that the future leadership of the PNP will not conduct themselves in that manner.
Thanks for that question, Mahiri. I came into this arena because the Prime Minister asked me. And I really did like the vision that he had laid out for the country. And so for me, it was an opportunity to serve the country and to be a part of creating a Jamaica that I always thought was possible, but that I finally found articulated by Dr. Holness. And it's been very much an awesome experience for me to be a part of a historic third term campaign. This is very, very difficult. Third terms are really, really hard. And this campaign was hard. It was not easy in any way. But the Prime Minister did set the groundwork. And that's why I'm even more proud to be a part of this, because he said, you know, this is going to be a clean campaign. We're going to campaign on our achievements. And, you know, there are some people who would say, you know, you can't really campaign on achievements and that positive campaigns don't work and that you have to go negative. And our Prime Minister said no. Our Prime Minister said, we are having a clean campaign. We're being positive. We're talking about choosing Jamaica. We're talking about the future that we want to see and that can inspire people. And so for me today, I'm happy to see that you can run a clean campaign, you can run on your achievements, and that you can be successful. And for me going around Jamaica and meeting all the persons I was able to meet in various constituencies, it reminded me of why we do what we do. We're not doing it for any kind of glory. We're doing it because we want to see people's lives improve. That's why we're doing it. And that's been very good to meet people, to hear what their issues are. You get a really different feel of the country when you're campaigning. And also, for me, it's been the joy in seeing the children around the country, seeing their faces, hearing them singing the songs, just interacting with them. But also that example to our children that you can be good, you can be clean, you can be positive, and still be rewarded. That is something that I am proud of, and that's something that I'm very happy about today, that I see a leader that my own children can look up to.
Next question.
Oh, well, the last question I'd have, which tied into what I asked previously, is we know that there are incumbent MPs in the JLP that are probably nearing the end of their political careers and probably won't even be running come 2030. Has the JLP begun the process in identifying persons that will take over from those incumbent MPs when they step aside? And do any of you three see yourself as potentially those persons?
Chris, do you see yourself in that manner?
Well, no, not doctor.
First of all, the organization isn't static, so it's dynamic. And there may be members in this audience right now on the journalistic side who may one day be sitting beside me chairing a press conference. You never know. It is what it is. People evolve and they see the light. No, but seriously, seriously, we have many affiliates. We have the Young Jamaica, we have G2K, we have the Women's Movement, we have new recruits. The Prime Minister has been on record, and if you look at his trajectory over the last 9 years, there are many persons who are not among us, or certainly visibly among us, at the level of cabinet ministers, senators that have come on board out of their conviction, willingness to serve, and the party's willingness to accept them. Because that's how new ideas evolve, that's how freshness of not just people, but ideas. And I think we can proudly say that we have a mix of persons who are experienced, who have been involved in the process for many years. And I probably should use this opportunity, thank you for the question, to thank those who were previous members of parliament who are no longer the case as of this election. Carl Samuda, who gave years, 40 plus years of service. Audley Shaw, many years of service. Mike Henry, many years of service. Jamaica owes them a lot, and certainly the Jamaica Labour Party too for their years of service. J.C. Hutchinson, and if you check the seats now, those seats in particular, a young principal in the case of J.C. Hutchinson, young Delano Seavright in the case of Carl, very experienced diplomat, businesswoman in the case of Audrey Marks, and of course a young municipal mayor, former mayor
Williams.
of Williams in Central. So that to me is a demonstration of dynamism. No, I'm not going to predict who will be in anywhere in the next 5 years. Let that process take its course. Suffice to say that it has traditionally taken its course, and we are happy with the process, how it works. Thank you.
It's good to hear Chris complimenting Delroy as young.
Young or young at heart, how is that?
Well, in terms of my consideration of my positioning in the politics, I'm really a function of how best I can serve my party. And again, this is not a politically correct answer. It's how I genuinely feel. When I was in media, I'd hear stories of people tossing around tantrums when, they're asked to serve in particular areas by their party leadership, people in the PNP, that is. I'm not of that culture, but a function of what my party leadership, the Secretariat wants in terms of whatever positive contribution, and I'm willing to consider it. So, that's where I stand. I'm just happy that we've been able to play a part as a team in getting us over the line and securing the third term for the Jamaica Labour Party, because I feel that is absolutely crucial to the future trajectory of Jamaica on a whole. Do we have any further questions? No, we don't. Okay, well, that brings us close to our media conference. Today, again, we want to thank the people of Jamaica for investing in the Jamaica Labour Party, their trust to govern Jamaica over the next few years. This has been a wonderful campaign, an enlightening and rewarding campaign, and we endeavor to serve the people of Jamaica, not disappoint their expectations. I recall when I took on chairmanship of the Jamaica Labour Party's Communication Task Force about in April or May of last year, I had a conversation with one of my mentors, the late Don Webby, who encouraged us to pursue a campaign which focuses on the achievements of the Jamaica Labour Party, a commitment to execute further in the interests of the people and to eschew any negative content. I believe we met those expectations, and I'm sure my colleagues will join me as well in part dedicating this victory
The
to
final
Don,
counting
who
of ballots
left
in the
us
parliamentary election
a
and
few weeks
local
ago,
government
and
by-elections
is a distinguished
are
Jamaican
underway at
patriot.
designated
May his
counting
soul
centers.
rest in peace. Thank you so much to viewers who have joined this media
Jamaica Labour
conference
Party-
in Jamaica and overseas, and to you, our media partners who have attended upon the media conference. We thank you much for your company, and we look forward to speaking to you and seeing you soon. God bless you.
For the by-elections. Speaking today on Radio Jamaica's Hotline program, Director of Elections Ron says the ECJ was able to deliver the results of the polls